Okay, so just want to discuss for a minute, particularly those small business owners or small to medium business owners. You might have 1 to 10 staff, or you might even have more. But what you've got is a business that's running, and you'll be able to keep everything together. But it's been a bit of a challenge, because what we've found is with so many small businesses in particular, is that they buy lots of point solutions. They buy lots of different pieces of software that they subscribe to each month. And so they'll use one product for their CRM, and then another product for projects, and another product for inventory, and another product for their website, another product for this and that. And before you know it, you're subscribing to 10, 15, 20 different applications. So you're paying somewhere between 20, 50 bucks per user per month just to get all that information into those separate little boxes all over the place. And that's the problem here, is when you think about it, all these different applications, you've got to think about not just the cost of subscription, which is hefty once you add them all together, but also how do you maintain that information? You've got all these islands of information all around the place that are not joined together. So how do you join them together? How do you get, as a business owner, how do you get the reports and information you need? How do you know how many sales you made? How do you know when your stock is going to run out? How do you know all those things? And if you're like most small businesses, you then go and set up a Google spreadsheet. And in that Google sheet, you put all this information in there, and you create these dashboards, and you start pulling all this information together. But how do you get that information? Someone has to go and pull that information from all these different systems. And then you think, well, that's not much good. Let's see if we can do something with automation. So then you go and buy more products that's going to go and automatically pull this information from this system, pull that information from that system, and put it into your Google Sheet. And that might work okay, but wow, you're paying a lot of money there for all those separate things. And even then, what happens when something goes wrong? Like, is the validation in there? Are you actually getting the right information? So whilst you've got this master spreadsheet, can you really trust it? You never really know, because you don't have all your information in one place, or you've got way too many places. 1 or 2 places is manageable. Anything beyond that, and you're not managing it, it's kind of managing you. You're spending time and effort. Your labour costs are going through a roof just with people doing copying, pasting, or pulling spreadsheets and doing all those sorts of things. This platform has it all together. So the design with this platform is that it works with typically what we see. Most businesses require this platform and an accounting software. That's it. They don't need anything more. They could argue that maybe they want to outsource their website, and that's cool. No problem at all. Farm that off to some SEO type experts, that sort of stuff. Great, no problem at all. But basically what you want to do is have most of your operations, most of your internal stuff all together in one place. You don't want to be trying to join them together. So what we've got here is a platform where we've got everything in one place. We've got dashboards, so we can see exactly what's going on. We do have our inventory module, which, if connected, could connect to Xero, could connect to QuickBooks, could connect to MyOb, and all those other products. So we put in a connector in between those two, and that's it. That's the one connector. When we create an invoice here, it creates an invoice in the other system. The other system, let's say Xero for example, you can go and track all your regular taxes and all those sorts of things in Xero. And then what will happen is when they get paid and when they get marked as paid and that sort of thing, it will automatically update this system. So there's nothing to do there. So there's a one connector to one system, and that's it. Everything else is here. Other than that, you've got your dashboards. You've got your Discuss app, which works very much like text messaging, but you'll notice here I can start a message and create a video message. I won't use it because I'm actually using my camera right now. But I can start a video message with let's say one of my employees or an external one, so that can replace Zoom. I've got my calendaring in here, and I can set up things like appointments and those sorts of things. So this will replace Calendly or one of those other products you're using. And then I've got my to-do list, which can replace things like ClickUp or something like that. So to manage all those tasks and activities I've got going on. And then I've got my contacts, where all my contacts are in one place. Contacts are anybody I have a contact with. So it might be a supplier, might be a customer, might be an employee, or it could even be all three. So just because that contact I buy from and I have that other contact I sell to, but I could actually have a contact that I both buy and sell to and from. Then I've got a built-in CRM here. I've got everything I need here for managing simple CRM type activities. I don't need to pay bucket loads of money for HubSpot and that sort of thing. Usually it's totally unwarranted and you never take advantage of all its features. All you need is some basic CRM features. That being said, this is a very, very capable CRM. You'll notice it's got all my things that I can slide between the different stages and so forth. I've got my different views up here. I can look at my calendar view, I can look at my pivot tables, I can look at in graph view, all this information at my fingertips, but also I can create automation rules. So I can send out emails to follow-ups when I put certain tags in there, or do all sorts of things in here, set up activity plans and whatever else. I'm going to do some lead mining and things like that in there too. Then I've got my sales. So maybe when I go through sales, I might go into my CRM, I might then go and create a quotation, which will create a draft quotation within the sales module. And then we can email them off to the customers, send an email with this information in it, and we can preview it. We can even see what it looks like from the customer's point of view, so they can actually log into this portal and see this information for themselves. So we've got all those sort of features. We've got dashboards, as I mentioned earlier. In this case, we're on the sales dashboard, but we can have a look at our products, see what our best selling products are. We can see our invoices, our expenses, how our warehouse is going. And again, we can customize this to exactly to your needs. It is, after all, what's driving this is an internal spreadsheet. So we can pull the information from all parts of this system and display them in either graphs or gauges, or however we want to do it. I've already talked about invoices a bit. We've got projects in here, so we've got various projects we can take through, and again we've got the Kanban view where we can drag things between as they progress through. We can do it through calendar view, pivot tables. We've got some graphs up here and so forth, depending on how we want to have a look at that information. Within each task, we can see that this was related to a sales order. So this project was created because we sold a product that created this project. And so now we're selling a service, and then we've got tasks within that need to be done. And on my timesheets can go in here. And then when I invoice, I can invoice for the time spent if I want, or maybe it's on what was ordered, whichever way you want to slice and dice that, up to you. Then I've got my centralized timesheets. We're going to see all of my employee timesheets in one place. I can do email marketing, so I can set up a schedule to go in and send out emails to a group of prospects, or maybe however I want to slice and dice this. And if I go into one of these, you'll notice up at the top I can see how many were opened, how many were replied to, how many were clicked, how many opportunities there were, and some other information here, how many bounced, how many received, and so forth. So lots of information in there. I can do surveys, so customer feedback forms, surveys for internal for staff, surveys for let's say a certification survey, which is what this first one is. It's a certification one, so vendor certification. I can do those sorts of things. Lots and lots of options in here. Purchase and inventory tend to go together. So you tend to use purchase orders, particularly bigger organisations, to have that commitment to buy from a supplier, but it's mainly all about managing your inventory. So if you have products that you sell and you want to make sure you never run out of them, we can set up things like reordering rules, which is called a replenishment rule, which will allow us to immediately, when we drop below a certain threshold, we'll immediately create a request, a purchase order, in a draft format, so it doesn't commit to spending your money, but the system will know that we need more of these products, so it'll create that draft purchase order. So in the morning you can come in here and whoever's looking after your purchase can go see, oh, there's a blue one here. That means it's a draft purchase order. Check through, make sure things are right, and go, yep, I'm happy with that, and then either and probably send that off to the supplier to make sure they've got enough of this product in stock and all those sorts of things, make sure the numbers are correct, and once that's all good, then we can confirm that order. And on confirmation of the order, what I'll do there is it'll create a receipt to come into our inventory management. So these are all linked together. Everything works together cohesively into a single platform, and nothing gets lost ever. Then maybe you're a manufacturer too. So we've got manufacturing orders in here. So these MOs, manufacturing orders, we can see all the products that need to go into making this particular table. So here's the product we're making. Here are all the parts that have got to go in there. Here are all the work orders. There's only one in this case. And this hasn't been confirmed yet, so I can't start this work order yet. Let's jump out and jump into one that's already underway. Here's one that's confirmed. I can see this work order is ready to start, so I can start manufacturing this. If I go into another one, I've got notes here, I've got not available, so I immediately know that I can't, or couldn't start this manufacturing order right now because I don't have all the parts. And so the system immediately tells me that I don't have enough to start this right now. And I know that straight away. I don't need to go and check. I don't need to go and ask anybody. I know straight away. Next thing we can do is maintenance. So if we want to keep track of our equipment that we've got, maybe we use it as part of a manufacturing process, or maybe we just want to keep track of our laptops we've got or our devices, whatever the case may be. I can keep track of all those here. So my various pieces of equipment, and you can see I've got a couple of laptops in here. They're assigned to employees and all those sorts of things, and I can see all the descriptions and things like that down the bottom. But then we can create maintenance requests for this. So in this case, we've got, what have we got here? We've got a laptop, we've got some keys aren't working, and this is a corrective action. So you've got two different types. You've got either corrective or preventative. So corrective means something broke and we need to fix it. Preventative is when you're doing regular services on things, so making sure it's kept up to date, just like we do with your car. That's a preventative maintenance activity to make sure it's regularly serviced, and so it keeps going so we don't get any of these corrective actions to carry out. Now we do consume parts within maintenance. So when we're doing a maintenance, we may need to replace parts, we may need to take them out of stock, put them into the piece of equipment that we're repairing. So we've got to reserve the parts, we pick the parts, and then we use up the parts typically, and we can see how much that costs us here. And we can also track our times against this for maintaining this piece of equipment. So, and we'll keep track of the durations here, the total. So that means at any point in time, I can see what a piece of equipment is costing us to keep it running. I can also be able to trend this out to see when should this piece of equipment be replaced, because now we're starting to repair it more and more frequently. So maybe it's time to offload it and buy a new one and replace it. All those things are capable here. Then I've got my repairs. So my repairs, I can do things like if I've sold a product to someone and I've given them a warranty or not, and they have a problem with it, maybe they broke it, or maybe it didn't ship well, or whatever the case may be, they can send it back to us for a repair. And so this is us repairing someone else's piece of equipment that they've bought from us. And you can see I can add some parts in here. I've got some repair notes and so forth, just so we sort of sort the maintenance. Now the thing about this is if it's done under warranty, then we can still keep track of everything we used, but just under warranty, we're not going to create an invoice to them. We're not going to create a sales order to them. But if it's not under warranty, then maybe we do invoice them and so forth. So we can keep track of that. And we can also see the return here. So this will create, in the inventory module, will create a receipt for us to then collect those goods back into our warehouse, do the repair on it, and then after the repair's finished, we'll also create that delivery to go and send it back to the customer. So that's all covered in here, and including all the shipping costs and all those sorts of things will all be taken into account. So the main things, and then we can move into the employees. So this is keeping track of all our staff and so forth. So we can see that we've got Abigail, doesn't have any equipment, so we haven't given her any laptops or anything like that, so there's nothing assigned to her. We can see her timesheets, time off, where she fits in the organisational chart. She actually has a car by the looks of things, and we can see that she's under a workplace agreement or a contract. So all that information is in one place, and I've got all the HR settings. Now I'm logged in here as administrator, so I'm seeing a lot of stuff that you wouldn't normally see as an ordinary user. But I can come in here in settings, I can see how much her hourly costs is, if she's got a fleet card, lots of information here about her. Some of her private information is in there as well. Again, most of these are hidden from ordinary users, but also a resume is in here as well. So this can be really powerful to say, if I'm running projects and I want to put the right people on those projects, I can pull out the people with the right skills based on their internal resume that we've got in here. So lots of options in here. Attendance, I might have people scan in and scan out as they come in and out of the building and so forth, and I can see all my history in here of people coming in and goings and those sorts of things, making sure people are clocking on, clocking off at the end of the day. This can be done through a kiosk machine. It can be done through swipe cards and those sorts of things. They'll all kind of work. And then we've got recruitment. So if we want to have a recruitment drive for a particular role or something like that to fulfill the role, we can go through, do the recruitment drive, go through, let's open up one of these guys. We can go through from a new to an initial qualification session to in this case, a first interview and a second interview. And if all successful there, then we can go and create, let's say this person was successful. When we got up to the very last part where we've given them a proposal, they sign the proposal, we can then create, there'll be a button here that says create the employee records, and it will take all that information, and now they are a full employee with the business. You don't need to go and re-enter in all that information. And then we've got fleet management for all of our cars, our vehicles, trucks and whatever else we've got in our fleet, and manage them, making sure that they're kept up to date. We've got a time off app where we can see people go register for, I need some leave for whatever purpose, and so all those are in there. And then we've got an expense form, and so this is where you can either the employees paid for something on the behalf of the company and now they need to be reimbursed, or they've got a company credit card that they've used for a company activity, maybe a lunch, maybe buying equipment at parts at a hardware store, or whatever the case may be. That person either needs to be reimbursed, or we need to register that activity against their corporate credit card. And so we use the expense app to manage all that information. And down the bottom we've got our last couple of things, which is data cleaning and our apps and our settings. So data cleaning is something where we can set up, sometimes within these systems people end up duplicating records and those sorts of things. This will help consolidate, merge some of those ones together. If someone's made a little mistake in there, rather than having to try and mess around and find where all of these things are linked in, the system will go through and look and say, well, these two entities are the same really, so we're going to stick them into one, and then anywhere where those two, let's say sales orders or whatever activity, it will combine them together into one so that they're all pointing to the same single entity. Then we've got things like apps. So this is essentially our app store where we can go and activate other apps if we want to turn them on, and we've got other ones which don't have that activate button, so they're already installed. And down the bottom is all of our global settings down here. So we can brand this, we can stick our logo in here, and we can do that through this area over here where we've got our, hang on, where is it? Down here, where we can add our logo in here and really make it look good. On all of the invoices and things we send out, all our purchase orders, our sales orders, our invoices, our bills, we can brand all those too with our, excuse me, go up here a little bit, and we've got our documents, so we can configure our document layout. So this will say this is how our invoice will look, and if I want to go and change my logo, then I'll change the colours accordingly. If I want to use a different style, I can do that through some of these and just change the way it looks. In this case, I can change the format of it. I can put a footer on, which you might want to put in things like your bank details and those sort of things for them to pay. You can add taglines, you can change your address, all the usual stuff. So once you've got that the way you want it, it's then available to all invoices and so forth. So there's a lot in this platform, a lot, but the good thing is it's all together, and through the dashboarding we can see everything in one place, exactly what's going on in our business at any point in time, because we've got all of the data behind it available to us. So that was a quick overview of the system. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested, please get in touch and we can have a chat through what your particular requirements are. You don't need to have such a full list on here. We can really customize it down to just your specific needs. And there is a 14-day trial period for where we can give you a brand new fresh database. You can go and have a look at it. If you want to have a look at a demo site, well, with the information we've got here, just so you can play around with some existing data and see what it looks like, we can do that for you too. So we'll hopefully hear from you soon. So thank you for your time. I'll talk to you later. Thank you.